I took a quick break from posting last week, but I am back again with another video for you, and this time I'm very excited to be getting into the topic of the top 3 women that have inspired me in my time as an F1 fan so far. As I mentioned in one of my first videos, I've been a fan of F1 since I was 10 years old, so I've seen a lot of faces come and go through the paddock. However, as I spoke about in my recent Pride Month video, very few of those faces ever looked like me. On the bright side, this is one of the reasons why I'm always so delighted to discuss the women who have been and are present in the paddock. Without further ado, let's get into it. Claire Williams is the first person I'm going to be speaking about, and the list of reasons for this is as long as my arm, but first let's take a quick look at her background for those who might not be as familiar with her. Born in July 1976 to Williams team owner Sir Frank Williams and his wife Virginia Lady Williams, Claire well and truly grew up around Formula One. She originally studied a degree in politics before becoming a press officer at Silverstone Circuit in the late 90s. Claire then took up her first official role at her father's team as a communications officer in 2002. 8 years later, in 2010, Claire Williams became the team's head of communications before quickly moving on to take the mantle of Director of Marketing and Communications for the team. It was just 1 year later, in March 2013, that she was appointed to the role of Deputy Team Principal of Williams. This was a position that Claire held until 2020, when she stepped down at the same time as her father Frank, due to the team's acquisition by Darlton Capital. So why is Claire Williams so special? Well, first of all, she is one of only 2 women to have ever held a team boss position in the history of F1. In over 70 years of racing, these 2 women represent the very peak of Formula One accomplishments without ever having to score a single point out on track. They showed others that it's possible, where previously a female-led team had seemed like a pipe dream. With that being said, Williams has always mentioned that she very much does not favour titles like role model or trailblazer. Rather, she prefers to use her position to uplift other females in the sport, as she did when she was a deputy team principal, and this is another reason why I've always found her to be an inspirational figure. Under her direction, the Williams team had a programme where female ambassadors from different departments would go out into primary and secondary schools to talk about their jobs, to promote females in the workplace, specifically in motorsport, and to set an example for younger generations. She also oversaw the signing of inaugural W Series champion Jamie Chadwick as a development driver at Williams in 2019, and before that she led the team during Susie Wolff's time as development driver there from 2012 to 2015. Beyond her F1 career, Claire Williams is also a mum to her son, and has been able to spend more time on family since retiring from the sport. While she may not be planning a return to the paddock anytime soon, her legacy is well and truly still felt and will continue to be for years to come. If you're a casual Formula One viewer, you may only know Susie Wolff as a sometime TV pundit and wife of Mercedes team boss Toto Wolff. But those are just the tip of the iceberg as far as her reputation and achievements go in the sport. Starting off in karting at just 8 years old, Susie rose through the ranks and graduated to Formula Renault and then Formula 3 before moving on to DTM. As I mentioned earlier, in 2012 she was signed by Williams F1 to work as a development driver and made history at the 2014 British Grand Prix at Silverstone, becoming the first woman to take part in an F1 race weekend in 22 years. Wolff retired from racing in 2015, but continues to make occasional appearances at races as pundit, sharing her in-depth knowledge and witty Scottish banter with fans all over the world. She couldn't stay away from motorsport for long though, and in 2018 Wolff joined Venturi Racing in Formula E, becoming the sport's first ever female team principal and also a shareholder in the team. Just like Claire Williams, Susie Wolff has also used her platform as a female in motorsport for good and co-founded Dare to Be Different alongside Motorsports Association CEO Rob Jones in 2016. The non-profit organisation aims to increase the participation of women in motorsport and does this by hosting events for girls between the ages of 8 to 14, showcasing careers across motorsport through guests like Claire Williams and Sky Sports F1 presenter Rachel Brooks. Susie Wolff is also a mum to her 4-year-old son, and considering how she does this on top of everything else on her plate, I reckon that if I could achieve even 50% of her multitasking skills, I think I'd be over the moon. Okay, so firstly, I have to say that Lee McKenzie is not a relation, even though my family does in fact come from Scotland, and we do both spell our surnames without the A in Mac, but anyway. Secondly, one of the main reasons I've chosen Lee as one of my top 3 inspirational women in F1 is because she really holds a different type of role from Claire Williams and Susie Wolff. While both of these women were involved in the day-to-day of the sport, Lee McKenzie plied her trade in the media side of F1 and is still involved in motorsport today, alongside other sports including tennis, rugby and equestrian. She was even a senior broadcast presenter at the 2016 Olympics in Rio. Lee holds the distinction of being the youngest person in the UK to present the news after having made her anchoring debut on Border TV at the age of just 22, and she started out in Britain journalism at 15 years old. Growing up watching F1, Lee represented women at the very forefront of Formula 1 coverage. She was on my TV every race weekend, interviewing the drivers, knowing every level of detail, and showing me a different career path into the sport. As a kid who already loved writing and sports commentary, she truly stood out to me as having my dream job. You could tell that Lee genuinely had the respect of the drivers that she spoke with, but was also able to have a bit of crack with them too. Lee has made history by becoming the first female recipient of the Jim Clark Memorial Award, which acknowledges achievements within the world of motorsport and the motoring industry, further underlining her stellar reputation. Not only is she a broadcaster, but McKenzie has competed as an international co-driver in the World Rally Championship. She owns and runs a driver management company that looks after drivers from GP2 to World Rally, and she's a patron of World Horse Welfare. Yet another legendary level multitasker. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed learning a bit more about my female F1 idols. And what I really admire about these women is that they never made a big deal out of being a minority in their field. They just worked hard and used their platforms for positive effects. What a way to leave a legacy and set an example for others. If you liked this video, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel so that you'll be able to check out more from me and also follow along with my journey as a Formula 1 applicant. If you have no idea what that is, please head over to the first video on my channel to check out more information.